Hello everyone, this is Subhalakshmi. Welcome back to my channel Geography with Joy. Friends, we are discussing about a very interesting and relevant topic, that is on biodiversity and its conservation. We had already discussed some very important points of the same topic in our previous video, that is on part 1. I hope you had seen the video. Today we'll concentrate on the second part and we'll try to complete the topic. I'm sure you will enjoy this video too. Then without much delay, let's start the discussion. The topic is Biodiversity, Balance the World. In our previous discussion in part 1, we had discussed about the basic concepts of biodiversity, its classification, measurement, and its importance. Today, we will concentrate on part 2 and will give emphasis on the topic, those are threat to biodiversity and its causes, conservation categories of biodiversity, and its conservation measures. And here we go. Threat to biodiversity. The core threats to biodiversity are the human population growth and unsustainable resource use. Human activity is the major threat to biodiversity, and following are the chief causes of extinction of species caused by man to fulfill its needs. They are habitat loss, habitat fragmentation, pollution, global climate change, introduction of exotic species, disease, overexploitation, and shifting or zoom cultivation. Now, let's discuss each cause individually for a better understanding. Let's start with habitat loss. The primary cause of the loss of biodiversity is not direct human exploitation, but the habitat destruction that results from the expansion of human populations and human activities. In many cases, the factors causing habitat destruction are the large industrial and commercial activities associated with a global economy, such as mining, cattle ranching, commercial fishing, forestry, plantation, agriculture, manufacturing, and dam construction, initiated with the goal of making a profit. Huge amounts of habitat are lost each year as the world's forests are cut down. Rainforest, tropical dry forest, wetlands, mangroves, and grasslands are threatened habitats and leading to desertification. Have a look at this picture. This is an example of desertification of a boreal forest. And what is the effect here? The effect is the intensive production of hydrocarbons, and it is an ecological catastrophe. Habitat fragmentation. Habitat that formation occupied wide areas are now often divided up into pieces by roads, fields, towns, canals, power lines, etc. Habitat fragmentation is the process where a large continuous areas of habitat is both reduced in area and divided into two or more fragments. The consequent fragmentation of habitat results in isolated patches of land that cannot maintain population of species into the future. Scientists report that the effect of habitat fragmentation on biodiversity may not be fully realized for decades after habitat is degraded. Therefore, habitat connectivity must be considered in current management practices to prevent the devastating effects of fragmentation on biodiversity. Look at this picture. It is a raccoon. which is visibly scared and searching for home after forest was cleared. Pollution. Atmospheric and hydrologic pollution have far-reaching negative effects on biodiversity. Pollution from burning fossil fuels such as oil, coal, and gas can remain in the air as particle pollutants or fall to the ground as acid rain. Acid rain, which is primarily composed of sulfuric and nitric acid, causes acidification of lakes, streams, and sensitive forest soils and contributes to slower forest growth and tree damage at high elevations. In addition to that, chemical pollutants such as pesticides and herbicides leach into the soils and watersheds and affect the complete food chain. Have a look at these two pictures. This picture shows a forest with dead trees which was completely destroyed by pollution and acid rains. And this one shows a bright yellow-green dirty toxic water near an oil factory, which is showing a global ecological problem of acid rains and water pollution. Global climate change. Carbon dioxide released from burning fossil fuels and biomass, deforestation, and agricultural practices contributes to greenhouse gases, which prevent heat from escaping the Earth's surface. With the increase in temperature expected from increasing greenhouse gases, there will be higher levels of air pollution, greater variability in weather patterns, and changes in the distribution of vegetation in the landscape. Some species will not be able to adapt to these changes in the environment and will become extinct. However, it is expected that many plant and animal species will attempt to disperse to higher latitudes and altitudes as the temperature increases. Therefore, any barrier in the landscape, such as highways and urban areas that prevent movement to more hospitable environments, will result in loss of biodiversity. The picture shows you a polar bear standing on a melting ice floe in Arctic Sea. Melting of snow in Arctic Sea is also an effect of global warming or climate change. Another threat to biodiversity is natural calamities. Natural calamities such as earthquakes, floods, volcanic eruptions, forest fires, droughts, etc. cause damage to flora and fauna of the earth, bringing change to the biodiversity of respective affected regions. Ecosystem degradation reduces the ability of forests to sequester carbon, which exacerbates climate change. Over time too, many types of natural disasters play an integral role in rejuvenating the very ecosystem that they once destroyed. Natural hazards can either kill organisms directly or destroy their habitats so that they are no longer able to live in the area where the hazard occurred. Look at the forest fire here, and what's the result? The result is the loss of habitats for birds and insect species. Introduction of exotic species. Do you know which are called exotic species? Species which are not the natural inhabitants of the local habitat but are introduced to the system are called exotic species. The great majority of the exotic species do not become established in the introduced new places. However, some of the species are able to establish in new area. Such successful exotic species may kill or eat native species to the point of extinction or may so alter the habitat that many natives are no longer able to persist. The effect of exotic species is maximum on island. Disease-causing microorganisms, if introduced to new virgin areas, may cause epidemics and native species are eliminated completely. Take this example. This is the brown tree snake. Guam, an island in the Pacific Ocean, has lost most of its birds to an invasive species, and that is the brown tree snake. It was introduced to the island and wiped out 3/4 of the native bird species and 2 of the 11 native lizard species. Brown tree snakes have been introduced to other Pacific islands and had similar impacts in those places by eating eggs, young and adult birds and reptiles. Disease. Human activities may increase the incidence of disease in wild species. The extent of the disease increases when animals are confined to a nature reserve rather than being able to disperse over a large area. Also, animals are more prone to infection when they are under stress. Animals held in captivity are also more prone to higher level of disease. Have a look at this picture. These are some sick chicken or sad chicken in a farm. It's an epidemic of bird flu. The disease affects the nerves that supply the bird's gastrointestinal tract, though it can also affect nerves that supply other organs too. Overexploitation. Increasing human population has escalated the use of natural resources. Overexploitation threatens about 1/3 of the endangered vertebrates in the world as well as other species. Growing rural poverty, increasingly efficient methods of harvesting, and the globalization of the economy combine to exploit species to the point of extinction. Even if a species is not completely eliminated by overexploitation, the population size may become so low that a species is unable to recover. The picture shows here the rhino poaching. The most common reason for rhino poaching is to meet the high demand for their horns in Asian countries, where the horn is predominantly used in traditional Chinese medicine, but is increasingly being used as a symbol of wealth and prosperity. In previous generations, the most common rhino poaching activity was hunting for recreational purposes. Because of excessive poaching, rhino populations have declined rapidly since the 1970s, leaving some species critically endangered and facing extinction. Last but not the least threat to biodiversity is the shifting or jhum cultivation. Some rural people destroy biological communities and hunt endangered species because they are poor and have no land of their own. Hence, they have no choice except to move to remote, undeveloped areas and attempt for their livelihood through shifting cultivation. Shifting or jhum cultivation greatly affects forest structure and species composition by creating a mosaic of forest patches of different ages. Have a look at this picture. This is a land after slash and burn preparing for cultivation. It is the method of shifting cultivation. In shifting cultivation, plots of natural tree vegetation are burnt away and the clear patches are formed for 2 or 3 seasons, after which their fertility goes down to a point where adequate crop production is no longer possible. The trees are cut down, the fallen material is burnt, and crops are planted in nutrient-rich ash. After 2 or 3 harvests, the nutrients are washed out of soil by the rain. The farmer then abandons this patch and cuts down a new patch of forest trees elsewhere for crop production. And this is how they are destroying the ecosystem as well as the biodiversity. Coming to the next part, conservation categories of biodiversity. To highlight the legal status of rare species for the purpose of conservation, the IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature, has established the following 5 main conservation categories. They are extinct, endangered, vulnerable, rare, and insufficiently known species. Now, let's learn something more about these categories. Extinct species. Species that are no longer known to exist in the wild are known as extinct species. Searchers of localities where they were once found and of other possible sites have failed to detect the species. Look at this picture. Are you able to identify this creature? Yes, you are right. It's a dodo bird. An extinct flightless bird that inhabited Mauritius, the dodo was about 1 meter tall and might have weighed around 10 to 18 kgs. The only account we have of dodo's appearance is through varied illustrations and written accounts from the 17th century, so its exact appearance remains unresolved. It is presumed that the bird became flightless due to the availability of abundant food sources and a relative absence of predators. The bird was hunted to extinction by sailors and their domesticated animals and invasive species. The last widely accepted sighting of a dodo was in 1662. Endangered species. Species that have a high likelihood of going extinct in the near future are known as endangered species. This is a red panda. The red panda is a carnivorous native to the eastern Himalayas and southwestern China. It is listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List because the wild population is estimated at fewer than 10,000 mature individuals and continues to decline due to habitat loss and fragmentation, poaching, and inbreeding depression. Vulnerable species. Species that may become endangered in the near future because population of the species are decreasing in size throughout its range. Vulnerability is mainly caused by habitat loss or destruction of the species home. Look at these 2 cute snow leopards here. The snow leopard is a native to the mountain ranges of Central and South Asia. It is listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List because the global population is estimated to number fewer than 10,000 mature individuals and is expected to decline about 10% by 2040. Rare species. A rare species is a group of organisms that are very uncommon, scarce, or infrequently encountered. This designation may be applied to either a plant or animal taxon and is distinct from the term endangered or threatened. These species have small total number of individuals, often due to limited geographical ranges or low population densities. This is an example of a rare species, a Sumatran rhino. Alongside the Java rhino, the Sumatran rhino is one of the most threatened rhino species in the world. It is also the smallest. There are only a handful left in Sumatra, Borneo, and the Malay Peninsula. It is estimated that there are fewer than 100 rhinos only left over. insufficiently known species. Species that probably belong to one of the conservation categories but are not sufficiently well known to be assigned to a specific category. For many of India's magnificent creatures, time is running out. Climate change, deforestation, unhindered poaching, and other man-made problems have all resulted in fewer animals today than there should have been. Get a glimpse of this beautiful creation? This is Sangai. Deeply honored in the legends and folklore of Manipur, the Nimble Sangai is also called the dancing deer of Manipur. One of the rarest animal species in the whole world, Sangai live only on the unique floating phumdis of the marshy Loktok Lake. Coming to the last part of the topic, conservation of biodiversity. Due to continuous increase in the number of endangered species of flora and fauna, steps have been taken to protect and manage the wildlife of the country in India. Non-governmental voluntary organizations as well as governmental organizations at state and central levels have been set up to protect the wildlife. The Department of Environment, Forest and Wildlife was set up to have coordination between states and the center and speedy and faithful implementation of the steps to be taken in program of wildlife management in the country. The objectives of the organization are to protect natural habitats through controlled and limited exploitation of species, to maintain the viable number of species in protected areas like national park, sanctuary, biosphere reserves, etc., to establish biosphere reserves for plants and animal species and protection of species through legislation. And the means of preservation are by improving the existing protected areas of sanctuaries, national parks, etc., by imposing restrictions on export of rare plant and animal species and their products, by educating public for environmental protection at all levels for education. To protect, preserve and propagate the variety of species within natural boundaries, the Government of India passed the Wildlife Protection Act in 1972, under which national parks and sanctuaries were established and biosphere reserves were declared. It is our ethical responsibility to consider that each and every species along with us have an intrinsic right to exist. Hence, it is morally wrong to voluntarily cause the extinction of any species. The level of biodiversity is a good indicator of the state of our relationships with other living species. In fact, the concept of biodiversity is an integral part of many human cultures. To increase the understanding and awareness about biodiversity and its issues, the International Day for Biological Diversity is celebrated every year on May 22nd. The word biodiversity is used widely. And here we conclude the topic. I hope you have understood and enjoyed my video. How did you feel? Please write in the comment box. If you liked, please don't forget to subscribe my channel and like and share my video. Thanks for watching. Be in touch for more updates. See you soon. Till then, take care and have a good day. Stay safe.